Hey YouTube, how's it going guys? Jared Fuller here. Today is Sunday, March 25th, 2018. So glad you could join me this week for another edition of the Sunday Video Update. Dad and Amy, they're awake. They're off camera. Amy's in the room. Dad's in the kitchen doing dishes. So, how you guys doing? It's been a long week. So I went to visit with Caleb yesterday. And I just, went out on a joyride, and I ended up in a town called Diamonddale, which would be like southwest of Lansing. And then I ended up in Eaton Rapids, and I figured, well, if I'm in Eaton Rapids, I may as well go and visit a cancer warrior brother. So that's what I did. And, we kind of chilled for a little bit, and Dusty came back home. That's Caleb's mom. She was helping a friend, and then she went right to sleep. She took a nap because she's hardly gets any sleep. She's constantly on the go helping other people, and that's what I love about you, Dusty. You are just an amazing person, and I'm just a lucky son of a bitch who has a friend like you. But anyway, that's part of the busy week. I had taken a friend to work. She works in Saginaw, and wow, what else was I doing? Oh, I was in Flint. I was in I was in Saginaw, Flint. I've been all over the place this week, or last week, rather. I had to take our former neighbor. She's 85 years old. I had to take her to Flint to have an MRI done, and she's now at the assisted living facility in Chesnang, and she needed a lift to Flint, so I was the person who had given her a ride to her appointment and back, and she's really wanting to come back home. She doesn't like the assisted living facility. She would rather be home where she belongs. But sometimes things come gradually, and you just have to be patient. And you just got to do what you got to do. There's this light. Ooh, too bright. We can shut that off. I also, when I was out and about yesterday, I ended up in a town called Springport. I've never been to Springport before. It's a small town. It's in Jackson County. So I went to visit a friend. She works at a liquor store. And after I left Caleb's house, I texted my friend and said, well, where do you live, or where do you work at? And she says, well, I work at this such and such place. And okay, I'll find it. And so I boogied on down to Springport from Eaton Rapids, and we visited for probably an hour and a half to a couple hours, and then I came home. And we made plans 2 weeks from yesterday. She and I had made plans, her boyfriend and her son Dakota. She wants to hang out at Chuck E. Cheese's in Lansing, which would be on April 7th, because on April 14th, that's the ABC 12 Family Expo. And speaking of the expo, I found out who the headliner is going to be this year. It's going to be Lizzie Green from the Nickelodeon TV series called Nicky, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn. For those of you whose children watch the program, I'm going to be meeting Dawn in person, and I will have a picture to share with all of you when that happens, when I go to that event. So, yeah, there's always something to do. There's lots of things coming up. I've also been looking into airline tickets, because there are lots of friends that I consider family. They live out of state, and I've been looking for the cheapest airline tickets I can find, round trip. And it looks like I'm going to be flying out of Metro Detroit, because that's where the cheapest tickets seem to be. I considered Flint at Bishop. Nah, I'll just go to Detroit. It's a much bigger airport, and it'll probably be easier flying out of Detroit than Flint. I don't know why. I don't know how, I don't know where I'm going with that logic, but I guess it's because the hospital, listen to me, the airport is bigger. And the tickets, I checked on Google, the tickets appear to be cheaper for some airlines. Now, there are airlines that, you know, are in the thousands. I'm not going to spend $1,000 for a round-trip airfare. I'm not going to do that. But there's places that I really need to go to, and there's people that I need to meet. I considered driving to New York, but with the tolls and everything, because I'm going to be using the 80-90 Ohio Turnpike, and I don't want to have to be stuck paying tolls. So I would just assume fly. So when I go to New York to meet my extended family in St. Johnsville, New York, I'll probably fly from Detroit to Albany, and it's a nonstop flight. So, and it's round trip, and the prices are fairly cheap. I've been asking some friends suggestions, because most everybody I know has flown on an airplane at one point in time. I've never flown on a plane. I'm kind of nervous about it, but everybody says, well, you know, the first time is kind of scary, but once you get the hang of flying, you get used to it, you're going to want to fly more often. You're going to want to go and visit different places, and you're going to want to see different things in the world. And, well, yeah, of course. The first time, like I said, you know, it's going to be a nerve-wracking experience, but I think the more I fly and I get out to meet people, the less afraid I'll be of flying. And of course, you have people who are pessimists, and they say, well, you know, with all the stuff going on with airplanes and the terrorist attacks, and all, well, and I understand their concern, and I'm not, you know, I'm not going to downsize their concern for me, which I'm happy, I'm flattered that people are concerned, but, you know, any number of things could just as well happen if I drive my van from one end of the country to the other. I could break down, I could be 1,000 miles away from home. You know, I can't have, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to expect my dad to go run to my rescue every time I break down somewhere. And, you know, I think in the long run it would cost me more if I had driven my van to all these other places. It would just be too much. So I figured, you know, maybe getting on an airplane would be a little cheaper, or maybe colossally a lot cheaper considering on the airline. So I don't know. I think I'm going to try the flying thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to visiting lots and lots of places and meeting lots and lots of families. You know, we've spoken on Facebook for years, and we have cell phone numbers. We text every so often. We do phone calls, Skypes. We do all that stuff on occasion. But it's going to be a nice change to actually get to see the people that I've been talking to for all these years. So they've invited me to their house, and they're excited to meet me, and I'm excited to meet them. And I'm very honored and flattered that they would invite me into their homes. And I don't want to push my welcome. I'll probably stay for, I don't know, a few days, depending on where I go and who I visit. Probably just a weekend thing. I don't want to stay for long durations of time, and, you know, I don't want to push my welcome. I was at the Amtrak station in Flint last week, too, and I wanted to find out some information on train tickets, and I waited in the lobby for like a half an hour. No one came out to talk to me, and I got tired of waiting, so I left. I came back home. Well, they're probably on their lunch break. Well, I understand that, but come on, over a half an hour? I'm not going to wait around. Today I'm drinking Squirt, by the way. I know it's not Pepsi. Squirt's not bad. But anyway, I hope you've all had a good week. My week's been kind of busy. we've been watching episodes of Roseanne, like the reruns from the 90s, the original first series of Roseanne. They're going to be coming back to ABC this Tuesday. And it's going to be funny, too, because now that Dan and Roseanne are grandparents, well, actually, to be honest with you, they were grandparents in the first run because Darlene had her baby, and they thought Darlene's baby, Harris, was going to die because she was so tiny. Well, now that they're older and their grandchildren have gotten older, so it's potentially going to be just as good as the first run of the show. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. And now that they're all back, except for, I think, Mark, because Glenn Quinn, the guy who played Mark, he ended up passing away. I think it was back in 2002. I think it was a drug overdose. But I think the original cast will be back. Lacey Goranson and Sarah Gilbert, Dan Roseanne, Michael Fishman. I think Laurie Metcalf and maybe Sandra Bernhardt, the lady who played Nancy. I don't know if Crystal's going to be back, and I don't know if Bev's going to be on there. I think Estelle Parsons is still alive. I'm pretty sure, because they said the original cast, so I'm guessing that it'll probably be the original cast members that I just mentioned. So ABC this Tuesday, I think it's at 8 o'clock is when it starts. I can remember being a little kid and watching Roseanne. They used to come on TGIF, if you can believe that. Because TGIF, at that time in the 90s, it was directed towards a more wholesome angle for, family entertainment. I don't know how Roseanne ever managed to fit the bill on the whole TGIF thing, but I remember watching the show when I was a kid, and it was funny then, and it's still funny now after all these years. So hopefully on Tuesday the show will be just as good. The reboot will be just as good. But anywho, I mean, we're doing okay. We're just taking every day, one day at a time, and hanging in there, and for the most part, just, trying to take care of business. I found out some kind of good news. Well, actually, it's not kind of. It's very good news. I'm going to be a great uncle again. My niece Angel is pregnant, and she's due in November. So, Angel, if you're watching this, Uncle Jared loves you, and I know you're going to be a wonderful mom. And I can't wait to spoil that little baby when it's born. Another face to kiss and cuddles with and everything. I just can't wait. I can't wait. That was Caleb yesterday, too. When I went to visit Caleb, he just, he had his, he had like this toy turtle shell on, and he's got the blue Ninja Turtle mask on, and he had a sword, a toy sword. But before I left, he says, "Jared, wait, don't leave. What's up, buddy?" He ran up to me, had his arms up, gave me a great big hug, and I told him I loved him and I'd see him again very soon, and he's a wonderful kid. I really and truly love Caleb. He's a good little boy. I've been texting with his mom every so often. She is always on the go when she's not cleaning house and making sure that Caleb is being taken care of. And, because husband and wife, they swap back and forth between jobs, housework, making sure that Caleb takes his medicine, that he goes to his appointments in Lansing. She's always helping other people, and she is just an amazing woman. And, lately, other than the fact that, I've been doing okay, but every so often I get those feelings where I help people and it just seems like it's never good enough, or if I make other people a priority, those people are the same people who always push me to the back of the line or put me on the back burner. And I don't speak publicly about it a lot because I just try not to let it bother me, and I just accept it as normal. But, you know, I mean, I would like for people to check on me once in a while and say, well, hey, is there anything we could do for you? Or, hey, you want to come hang out? Or, you know, we're having supper tonight. We're having a cookout. You care to join us? Sure. But I've noticed a trend lately where the people that I've helped, and I don't want to down talk anybody because that's not what I'm about, and that's not what I'm going to do here. It just seems to me that the people that I've helped, like if I want to go to their house, if I want to talk to them, text them, or just to come over to visit them, it seems as if it has to be done by appointment. And I understand people have lives, and I'm not, you know, I'm not saying they don't have lives, but it's just, you know, those same people who always seem to have time for everybody else. And, you know, for them, it's open mic night. But if I want to come and see them or talk to them on the phone or text them, it's always either done by appointment or they just don't have the time. And that hurts, you know, because I really care about those people. And, you know, I don't want to make too big a deal about it. But, yeah, it hurts. And just figured I'd put that out there. But anywho, we're holding up. So yeah, I don't know what's on the agenda for this week. It's officially spring, and it doesn't feel like spring, it's cold. We were supposed to have gotten snow this weekend, and I guess the storm system had totally and completely missed us to the south. So places like Indiana and Ohio, I'm pretty sure they got dumped on with a bunch of snow. I don't know. Wasn't in Michigan. We dodged that bullet. But yeah, I mean, you see it. Not doing a whole hell of a lot today. Just kind of chilling. So, I don't know what else to talk about. Yeah, so it's been a good week. Good report. My mom had throat surgery last week, and it came back clear. She doesn't have cancer, so she's officially been declared cancer-free, which is great. You know, I should really start writing these things down because so much happened last week, and you know, I really need to write these things down so I know what to talk about for the Sunday video updates. I might start doing that next week. Depending on what happens this week, yeah, I really need to be more on the ball with keeping everyone updated on what's going on. But as for my personal health and everything else, I'm doing okay. Everything's coming up roses. Take them one day at a time, as I always do. I've been making graphics for the Cancer Warriors, and I email them to Dad. Dad shares them on Facebook with, you know, on the pages, because he'll tell me, well, you know, he'll discover a new page. I'll look at this page, and I'll make a graphic for the Warrior. And the parents really appreciate it. A lot of them even use the graphics as the cover photos. Or they'll just share them and say, this is beautiful, Jared, we love this, we appreciate it, and we love you. Well, I love you too. I love you too. And it's just my way of showing the Warriors and the families that you're never alone. You're never alone in this. There are those of us out there who actually understand what you're going through. And there's so much to be said about like the cancer battle itself, and the treatments and everything like that. There's so much to be said. I couldn't possibly sum everything up into one graphic. I couldn't sum up my own story into one graphic or in one on one sheet of paper. I couldn't do it because it is a long story. There are bits and pieces of my story that make up for the overall picture, the bigger story. I just couldn't fit it all into one. So, like I had made a graphic recently with a picture of the butterfly needle, which reminds me I have to make a video for Lily, a Wilms Warrior sister who lives in Pennsylvania, which I'll make very soon, probably sometime this week. Excuse me. I made a graphic with the butterfly needle because I used to get the butterfly needles a lot when I was a kid. And I made a graphic about that, and it basically what it was about, it was the struggle with PTSD. Anytime you see a needle or you smell the rubbing alcohol, it trips up your PTSD, brings back some memories. For me, it's really out there. PTSDs are a real thing, and I deal with those, especially whenever I see a needle. Like when I'm in a hospital and I see a needle, like even a sharps container, it'll just bring back those old memories, and it's like, wow. I start having flashbacks from my cancer checkups, and it's like, wow, I just don't know if I can do this. But it's not as bad, I guess, as it could be. It could be worse. But in any event, I mean, it's just my way of saying I understand, and I know what's going on, and I understand the battle, and I never walk behind or in front of the warrior. I walk with the warrior. We're in this together always. They will always have me on their side, on their team. So anybody who says I don't understand this, they're full of it. And my desktop, the icons just flickered. I don't know what that was about. Maybe the desktop was, maybe it was refreshing itself. I don't know. Anyway, it kind of threw me off guard. But yeah, anybody who tries to tell you that Jared doesn't know what he's talking about, tell them they're wrong. Because I certainly do know what I'm talking about. Which is exactly why I make the graphics. And it keeps me occupied. You know, like if I'm not actively busy helping somebody else, I'll, get an idea for a graphic, or I'll design a graphic for a warrior, and I'll say, hey, check it out. This is what I came up with, and my dad will share it with him and say, hey, Jared designed this for your warrior, and we hope you like it. And I talk to the warriors. As a matter of fact, speaking of Lily, she's a Wilms Warrior, of course, like I had mentioned. She lives in Pennsylvania. I had a 2-hour-long phone chat with her mom last week. It was the first time I had spoken to her that long in quite a long time. And we had a wonderful, wonderful discussion. It was a long discussion. I met this family. I met Lily in Port Huron. And her family is just absolutely amazing. Kara, I love you. If you're watching this, I love you, and I can't wait to see you all again. It's just it was a wonderful conversation. I enjoy the conversations I have, and just to keep this, or to put this out there and to make known, when I speak to the warrior parents or the warriors themselves, we don't talk about childhood cancer from beginning to end. I mean, the conversation will come up along the way in the conversation. Like the talk about childhood cancer will come up eventually. We'll talk about things back and forth, and we'll exchange and convey ideas and thoughts and things. But the whole duration, the whole course of the conversation does not revolve around childhood cancer. And mind you, also that my friendships, my relationships with the families and even the kids, it's not always about childhood cancer. Just because we've been affected by childhood cancer, our friendship doesn't totally and strictly revolve around that. And speaking of my phone, that was my text message ding-a-ling thing going off. What color is the ribbon? That's my mom. Sorry, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. What color is the ribbon? If you're asking what color is the ribbon for childhood cancer, the answer is gold, or like a bright yellow. well, it'd be gold. But I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, our conversations don't revolve around childhood cancer. We talk about any number of things, whether it be email, text, Skype. Because I've only ever Skyped with, I think, 3 people, but there's one family, the family that lives in St. Johnsville, New York. I Skype with that family more than any other cancer warrior family out there. We've gotten very close, and I enjoy my friendships and my relationships with people. I enjoy it very much. And I may not always be available for Skype. Either I'm gone helping somebody else, or I'm just busy doing other things. And if you text me and say, hey, do you want to Skype? And I say, well, I'm not home right now. Could we do this later or possibly another day? I will make it happen. I will make it up to you. Because the one thing I don't like is when I make plans with people, and when they want to make plans and they kind of don't stick to the plans. Like if we want to have a phone call or a conversation. And yeah, while it does bother me that, I mean, I shouldn't have to wait. But again, on the flip side of that token, they do have lives. And if they make a time to want to talk to me, cool. But don't say you're going to make the time and then not do it. I don't know. It's not that confusing. It's not that hard to understand. I wish I could just call my friends anytime I wanted. But, you know, I guess you only get as good as you give. And there's, you know, like I said, there's times when I'm busy and I may not always be available for Skype, but I can talk on the phone, I can text. You know, I would like for people to make time for me too. I don't think it's too much to ask. And I may have just contradicted myself there, but you kind of get where I'm going with that. I mean, it sucks that I have to check with people before I can come visit them, or to so much as want to talk to them on the phone or what have you, when all their other friends are just showing up out of the blue. And it may not be the case. I mean, they too might also have to check with their friends to say, hey, when would be a good time for me to come over? I don't know the dynamic of other people's friendships. I just know the dynamic of my friendships with those people. And I'm not complaining, by the way. There's no complaints here. So maybe I shouldn't assume, and I'm jumping the gun and I'm just assuming things. I shouldn't do that. But anyway, moving on. The color ribbon for childhood cancer is gold. And of course there are other specific colors for different types of childhood cancer. Now with Wilms tumor, because the commonality is you either have orange for, I think it's Kidney Cancer Awareness Month, which March is Kidney Cancer Awareness Month. And how fitting that my diagnosis date, my cancerversary, is in March. It's on March 2nd. And I think the green is Wilms tumor, I think. I may have gotten that backwards. And feel free to correct me on that in email if you so choose. But yeah, there's so much to talk about. So much to talk about, and I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay for the most part. Never a dull moment. Always something to do. And sometimes it gets dismal around here. I mean, there's people I would love to hear from and don't. And again, it just brings me back to the same conclusion that, you know, maybe they're just busy. They have lives and they have things to do. But I just don't like it when, again, people don't follow through with their plans, or they tell me that, well, they tell me that they're too busy for me. Well, I don't know about this week, but when somebody else wants to call them or talk to them, oh yeah, anytime this week. Really? You just told me you didn't have time. So you don't have time for me, but you have time for them? that really hurts, and it pisses me off. I don't know. I guess that's what I was trying to get at, essentially. Yeah, that kind of thing hurts. I mean, you've got time for them, but not time for me. I mean, come on. Oh, well. You know, I'm not a charity case, and it's not always depressing with me. At least I don't think. I mean, we can talk about other things. I have a good sense of humor. I love to laugh and joke about things, and it's not always depressing and sad. You build upon that. If you've had something traumatic happen in your life, you just build upon it. You learn how to form a sense of humor, laugh through the pain and the agony and the anguish and the trauma. You learn to laugh through all of that. And I think that's how you build up a good sense of humor. I don't want to pride myself too much, but I think I have a pretty good sense of humor. And I'm being biased, of course. But I'm not egocentric. That's one thing. I'm not an egocentric person. I do put other people ahead of myself at times, because I care. And that's just the thing about it. I take my negative, events, the things that have happened in my life, I spin it into a positive, and I try to help other people. That's about as cut and dry as it gets. My dad taught me how to, you take something bad that happened in your life and you use it for the good, and you try to help other people who are in similar situations. Other than my childhood cancer battle, I use that to help other people who are going through the similar situations. But my brother, my middle brother, for a long time, he had drug addiction. And, he attends meetings and things, and he's a mentor and helps other people get through their addiction as well. And I told him right from the beginning, because when he was using drugs, and Jay, I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm just going to share. When he was using drugs, he was an all-around different person. He was a person that I didn't like. He was a person that I didn't know. He was just a complete and total different person. But then he woke up. He wanted to make changes in his life, and he did. And he has been clean now for a long time. He was into the heavy stuff. He was using needles and things. He was shooting up. And he turned his life around. He's doing better. Every so often, his body will go through the DTs like he needs it. It's his body's reaction to not having it. He'll still go through that after so long. I mean, he has his moments. But other than that, I mean, there's people who are going down this road, similar to the road that he went down, and he's doing pretty good. I would dare say that he's been a mentor to a lot of other people, in spite of the fact that he also has a lot of people who don't like him. I don't know. Us Fullers, we're lovable, but we're hateable. Hateable is not a word, of course. We have our haters and we have our lovers. And we focus more on those who love us because we love them. And the haters, well, maybe one day they'll realize that we've always loved them, and they just chose a different path. And that's okay. We're not going anywhere, at least not right now. But my brother, he's doing okay. I just can't believe my brother's a grandfather already. So, are you going to come and say hi?
Hey.
They can't see you on camera. This
Hello.
is a Sunday video update.
Hello, how are ya? Having a good day?
This is my dad.
Don't mind me, I'm just doing dishes.
You got dishwater hands, huh? But I think this week's Sunday video update is going to be shortened. It's going to be abbreviated. I just wanted to be real quick about what's been going on. And that's my phone again. Dish soap. And Amy is finally coming out of the bedroom.
Finally coming out of her cave.
Yeah.
My woman cave.
Woman cave.
Oh, you guys, you men have your men caves.
Yeah, typically in a basement.
I ain't got time to be in a cave.
Bye again. Amy's adopted mom is in the hospital, Helen. And I know she doesn't watch my YouTube videos at all because she doesn't know that it exists. But we wish her well, and you know, we hope she's gonna be okay.
Caught a cold.
She caught a cold. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Did I tell you I almost got hit in Saginaw?
Yeah. People driving.
Well, what it was is because the place where my friend works at, she works out on Bay Road. For those of you who are familiar with Saginaw and Kochville and all that, she works out on Bay Road just north of Tittabawassee. Well, I went up M13 to go into Saginaw, and I forgot that you can't get directly onto 675 from M13. You would have to go down Johnson Street by the Dow Event Center, go up Jefferson, and then come back. Well, and I kept going straight, and then I had to turn around. Actually, no, I didn't turn around. I went out to the Zilwaukee Bridge and came back down to M81, and then came back into Saginaw, and then as I was coming down, it was M81 back to M13, and a lady was going to pull out in front of me. And then when she noticed I was coming, she hurried up and got back in her own lane. So, yeah, there was a bit of road rage going on there. Some bad words were used. But she almost hit me.
I'd have run right over my big truck if I had it.
It's like, where did you learn to drive? Oh, yeah, crazy Michigan drivers.
Watch other people.
Driving in Saginaw doesn't bother me, though. I never have an issue driving in Saginaw, but I should have known that you can't get directly onto I-675 from M13. You have to do that little jog, go down Johnson to Jefferson,
Bam.
Or go down to Warren.
Right, bam.
But what I was thinking, I was on Michigan because you can get onto 675 from Michigan.
Yeah, gotta go down too late.
And what I had to do then is when I come back out to M13, I went back to Genesee. Actually, no, it wasn't Genesee. It was Johnson again.
Yeah.
Johnson turns into...
Michigan.
No. Genesee would be the next block. Johnson turns into... Oh, is it Davenport? Davenport or Fitzhugh? One of those. I think it's Davenport.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Davenport. Because it comes back out when you curve back out to Michigan, and then you would have to go straight to stay on Davenport. So when I got back out to Michigan, I just went north on Michigan and got back on 675 again. If you're not from Saginaw, this is going to sound confusing to you. I know Saginaw pretty good. I've been there enough times. It's just like driving through Lansing. I actually went the wrong way down a one-way on accident. Because the positioning of the signs. To get on Interstate 496, it tells you to turn left, right? Who are you talking to? Scruffy's eating something? Probably food. But anyway, the sign tells you to get onto Interstate 496, you have to turn left. I thought at that point I could turn left. Well, I was heading east on a one-way that was going west. and it had like 3 lanes of traffic coming at me. And luckily, I don't know, someone was watching over me, but there was a Lansing City police officer right around the corner, and he had to close off traffic, and he gave me a warning. Don't let it happen again, like I did it on purpose. But maybe they should consider positioning their signs in different locations so it doesn't confuse people. Because if you're telling people that they can turn and go east on a one-way, when it's, I mean, it's a one-way street, but they're telling people you can turn a certain way when the one-way is in the opposite direction, I have no doubt in my mind that there are accidents on that stretch of street because of their mishap.
Stupidity.
It's all on, where the signs are positioned.
All about the state.
No, it's not the state. It's well, I guess it would be the state, but it's the road commission.
Yeah.
It's where you position the signs. I don't know. It's a good thing I didn't die that day, but I was scared. I had people honking their horns at me, and which is expected. You dumbass! Where'd you learn how to drive? Well, that's understandable. It's Lansing. It's capital city. Yeah, just like when I was in Pickerington, Ohio on the 4th, I stopped at McDonald's and got a bite to eat, and this guy, you saw the video where the little girl's touching the table and it's lighting up. Well, her dad thought that Detroit was our capital. I said, no, it's Lansing. He says, are you sure? I said, well, unless the building with the steeple on it in Capitol Loop is a Chuck E. Cheese, I'm pretty sure Lansing is our capital. And he says, oh, I got to brush up on my history, my geography. That'd be a pretty good bet. But I was nice about it. I wasn't rude. I just thought it was funny. He thought Detroit was our capital. It's the largest city in Michigan, but it's not our capital. It's Lansing, I promise. But anyway, is there anything you wanted to add before I wrap up this video? It's quick this week.
No, I'm good.
And before I go, of course, don't forget to visit guidestar.org. Right there at the bottom of your screen. It'll give you all the information you need to know about legitimate 501c3s and LLCs. If it's not listed, then it's not legit. Or, if it was before, it's not now. That's always a possibility. But I'm going to push guidestar.org for all of you to be informed and well aware of what's going on, and just to do your homework. But anyway, that is it for this week's edition of the Sunday Video Update. I was only here for about 45 minutes. That's long enough.
Take care.
Much love to all of you. Thanks for watching again this week. And take care. Peace.